Today, on Be Something Wonderful, the most powerful imaginal techniques to manifest change in your life right now. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, good morning from the studios of Be Something Wonderful in Las Vegas. Big video today. I want to talk about this guy who, there's two techniques that he's now embodying that has changed his life. And he said this whole idea, Tom, of that in this present moment, that as I define who I am, that I changed the past and the future. It was a game changer. And he talked about another video where I had a client who had her own version of these techniques. So I'm going to talk about these techniques today and more. I want to start with that yesterday we released a video that was first released in February 2022, right before the channel grew, had its next phase, where before it really blew up with subscribers, with like less than 800 views. It was such a powerful, someone pointed it out on the team, like, whoa, this is a powerful video, Tom, on beliefs, on limiting beliefs. So we released it by trying some editing. That's all, just to have some fun with it, right? And we had all sorts of interesting responses to that. And I understand there was a lot of reactions to that as well. Remember, we weren't changing our editing. We weren't changing. You guys know I love doing videos, the one and done, right? I love just getting it out there and letting it flow and letting it happen. But there is some merit and some fun in editing some older videos and re-releasing those. And so that's what we did. And it was interesting, because some of you, it was interesting reactions to reality, reactions to conditions. I don't like this. This is not what I want, right? Focusing on the unwanted, right? Putting your focus on trying to go back to the old method, right? To sort of digging in there, we didn't make any changes, but there was a few of you that were so aligned with your source that it didn't matter, the conditions didn't matter to you. That you know that you have dominion over conditions, that you didn't react to it. You weren't invalidating what you don't prefer. Like with a few of you, right? Invalidating realities you don't prefer. I don't like this. Invalidating it says, get rid of it, right? And some were just confused and complaining and just coming from what appeared to be, again, it's all experiences, it's all appearances, it's all perceptions, non-fulfillment, right? And asking what's wrong, right? But a few of you, and especially this one I want to put here, because she demonstrated, I think it's a she, it might be a he, demonstrated a master class in dominating reality, period. She said, no matter what format, I love and enjoy all of your videos because what matters is you, Tom. I love and I'm grateful for all the daily insights and content come straight from your love and light for all of us. Now, again, I'm not saying because it's just about me. It's about embracing reality, period. This person must be creating heaven on earth in her life, right? With that view. Seeing reality as the way you want to see it. Not complaining, not resisting, not invalidating conditions that you're seeing, but dominating them, knowing that she decides what reality is. She decides what it means to her. So powerful, guys. I just wanted to share that. Focus on what you love about reality, not what you don't like, and that's what you'll create. This is perfect for today's video. Because remember, this guy, part of what this client that I was talking about today that's implementing these two techniques that we'll talk about towards the end of the video, really powerful, it's changed his whole life in terms of health, love, and money. The three big ones, right? He says, Tom, the three big have changed big time for me. And part of it was he's just holding on to the past, not just the distant past, but what happened yesterday, a moment ago, believing that he's that identity, that things that I've got to go and look back what happened. I've got to change things there so I can have what I want in the future and so I can have who I am now. Right? So remember, history would not exist if the same errors were not being repeated in the present. A Course in Miracles. Such a powerful quote. Hear it again. History would not exist if the same errors were not being repeated in the present. What are those errors? Those errors are belief in linear time, the belief in the linearity of reality versus the simultaneity of all that is, of all that you are. You're a simultaneous being in all realities, all frames, all existences. Deciding through this present focus, your present assumptions, what your reality is going to be, not just now in the future, but the present. Remember, who you are now changes that horizontal experience. It doesn't mean those other experiences or those other versions of you don't exist and that you may not, and that you don't remember them. It's just that you're different now. You're a different person, so you have a different horizontal past. That horizontal past belongs to that other identity. That's powerful. I remembered her wrong, and somehow I was wrong about everything. Dr. Chris Calvin in that movie Solaris. Remembering, when you're remembering things as you don't want them to be, or didn't want them to be, or didn't want to happen, or seeing things as you don't want them to be. Right? Or imagining things as you wouldn't like them to be. You're remembering it wrong. Remember, everything's memory. You're remembering, you could just as easily remember the future as you can remember the past. All are imaginal images, not just the past that you believe you experienced. You've experienced all of them. But not just experienced them, they're all happening right now. There are no past lives. All those lives are right now, simultaneous. Happening right now. So we call them past lives, but they're all happening, and they're not just past lives, they're future, they're present, all the probable pasts, all the probable presents, all the probable futures, all the probable lifelines, identities, scripts, film roles exist right now. You use your past as evidence or proof of who you are now versus choosing, assuming and declaring who you are now. And then remembering that version of the past that makes sense for this new version of you. Do you see the power here? We're going to talk about the two techniques that he really used. But do you see it? You're looking at something that you believe happened in the past as evidence of who you are now versus deciding who you are now that changes that past. You come with a new linear past. That other past and that other you doesn't go away. You just become more aware of all that you are, more aware of that infinite being, that multidimensional being that you are. So, whenever you're not remembering the past, how you would have liked it to be, how you would have liked it to happen, you're remembering it wrong. And not only what you think of as the past, but the present and the future. Because they're all happening now. You can remember, in other words, memory is simply an imaginal act. It's an imaginal image. It's a mental image. You can remember anything, any frame right now. All infinite probable pasts, probable presents, and probable futures are remembered, in other words, imagined, in other words, created, focused in on, in your awareness here and now from your current identity of who you imagine, assume, affirm, and declare yourself to be right now. Linear horizontal experience, there it is. All the probable past, all the probable presents, all the probable futures exist here and now, and they're changing according to where your focus is. Is it focused on the loud music and the editing of a video that you believe is happening to you? Or are you focused on the love of the message? Right? Just think about this. This is powerful today. So you're not at the mercy. This is what Seth, through Jane Roberts, that non-physical entity that Jane Roberts back in the 60s, 70s, and a little bit in the 80s channeled. You're not at the mercy of the past or of previous convictions unless you believe you are. Do you see it? That you're not at the conviction of your previous assumptions or your beliefs. In other words, you are not at the mercy of linear time and space, and therefore you're not at the mercy of anything. Whoa! Hear it again. You're not at the mercy of the past or of previous convictions unless you believe that you are, unless you assume you are. This means you're not at the mercy of what we believe is linear time and space. You're an infinite being. You're wholly and absolutely unlimited and limitless right now. You believe or are convinced about what you remember. Right? We're convinced about our past, what we remember. That's what makes these techniques we're going to talk about today so powerful. But when you remember and believe that there's just one probable outcome, one probable past, one probable present, one probable you, one probable future, experience or possibility, whether it's past, present, and future, you're remembering it wrong. That's what we're saying. You're putting yourself at the mercy of linear time. That doesn't exist. It's just an idea. That's powerful today. So if you fully, this is what Seth through Jane Roberts says, if you fully comprehend your power in the present, in the vertical, the I am vertical, you'll realize that action, in other words, inner assumptions, inner beliefs, your inner assumptions of who you are, that's what action means in this case, at that point also alters the past, its beliefs and your reactions. Wow! Meaning you don't have to go to digging up beliefs. They change when your identity changes. Your assumptions change when you change that identity. And your reactions change. You're changing those reactions. You're changing that linear past. It's different now. Remember, all linear past existences are there. So you're not changing any one script. You're moving to the script where there is change, where you did react differently, where you did believe things differently. Different identity with different beliefs, assumptions, thoughts, and reactions. Right? Your present beliefs or assumptions about yourself in the world are like, this is what Seth says, are like directions given to the entire personality. Simultaneously organizing and reorganizing the past experiences according to your current concepts of reality. Hear it again. That's powerful. I've talked about this before. Your present beliefs, assumptions about yourself and the world, in other words, are like directions given to the entire personality, the entire multidimensional being that you are. Simultaneously organizing or reorganizing past experiences according to your current conceptions of reality. But not just past experiences, all experiences, past, present, and future. That's what he means, because remember, we look at them as past. But what we look at as past are all happening right now. Whether it's past, present, or future, it's all now, all of those experiences. So that different identity with those different beliefs, thoughts, reactions, that multidimensional you, the future, the probable future is being altered in the same way. That's what Seth says. So not just what you believe is the past, but the probable future and present, all being altered in the same way. There you are. I wanted to remind you this. I reminded a client 2 days ago about this, that there you are in this frame. But remember, that frame's always changing, and that frame is in the center of all possible lifelines, all possible scripts. It intersects with all that you are. In other words, these parallel realities are not parallel in the sense that you're not in them, and one's over here, one's over here, one's here. You're in the center of all of them. So when you see something, or some conditions that are not your preference, it doesn't mean you're in that, on that lifeline, in that script necessarily. It doesn't mean that's your world. It means you can see it because you're at the center of all worlds. Hear this. All realities, all lifelines, every possible lifeline you could experience or script or film roll that you could be on, you're on it now. That frame is in all of them. But what that frame is, what it changes into, and what lifeline or script or reality you experience depends on what you're thinking, assuming, and believing about yourself and reality, not the temporary conditions that you're seeing. Wow. Do you see the magnitude here? Where you are right now, that's you. That's your potential. You're the potential of all of it. You stand at the center of all probable pasts, probable presents, probable futures. This current frame exists in all realities, all lifelines, all alternative parallel realities, film rolls, and scripts. So it's not because you're seeing something or even experiencing it that it means you're stuck in any reality. Your frame, that frame of where you stand, is in all possibilities. It's you that gets to decide your experience. That's powerful. So the concept of yourself, your present beliefs, or in other words, that concept of yourself, those assumptions, this is Seth again, structure the memories. So this is Seth and Jane Roberts. Your present beliefs or your assumption, the concept of structure the memories, which will parade before you now. And what you remember will then seem to justify the beliefs. Wow. You create those beliefs or you create those memories that support your current assumptions and beliefs. Do you see it? Your present beliefs, your present assumptions, your present concept structure or organize and reorganize your memories or what you believe is the past, which will parade before you now. And what you remember will then seem to justify it, of course, because you're creating it. In other words, you create your horizontal linear past from your present assumptions, beliefs, and concept of yourself, not the other way around. You create your linear future in the same way. Wow! So digging up limiting beliefs creates them now. It makes no sense to go rummaging through what you believe is there because you're putting it there, right? What's wrong with me? Stop asking that question. What's wrong with reality? What's wrong with Tom? Editing videos. What's wrong with everything? Instead, who do I say I am? Who am I? You and you. It's between you and you. Who do I say? Who am I with respect to these conditions that are appearing? Because that changes the conditions. That changes everything. So that's powerful. This means changing your viewpoint, that particular perspective with which you view your past, present, and imagine your future. Seth through Jane Roberts. This means changing your viewpoint or perspective or vantage point, that particular perspective with which you view your past and present and imagine your future. He's talking our language, right? Remember, your source, seeing and imagining yourself from infinite viewpoints and infinite perspectives. You're all that is. That's the experience of change in the changeless reality. That's the experience of time, change, and movement in 3D reality. It's you as all that is. In the only moment there is now, seeing or perceiving or imagining reality from a different perspective or vantage point. That gives you experience. That gives you the experience of time and space and change and movement, right? Remember, there are no answers and there's no potential in linear time. There's nothing out there. So you're not going to get answers there. You can resist things, say, I want things this way, I don't want it this way, and complain and move things around and try to manipulate reality, but there's nothing you can do out there. Stop asking that question, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with you. You are so perfect, right? You must look within yourself for the evidence of what you want. Seth for Jane Roberts, again, talking our language, speaking our language. You must look within yourself for evidences of what you want. For evidences of what you want. I love that, right? Look within yourself, just like that message from Deep Space Nine, right? Look within yourself, Commander. Reality can't give you those answers. You've got to give the answers. The answers are within you. They're not out there, right? So there's two powerful manifesting and reality creation techniques that I've talked about in various videos. Some of these are the teachings of Neville Goddard. I remember when. Neville Goddard talks about a dream he had about it, that took place in many, many years before, right? Another time. And he imagined this grandfather, this older man, standing in an empty lot and saying, I remember when this lot was empty. In other words, he was imagining it with buildings and built up. He was creating an imaginal scene as he was standing in that conditions that looked like an empty lot from appearances, imagined it differently. I remember when it was an empty lot, right? So you're looking at the 3D conditions and saying, I remember when they were like this, but now they're not. Think of the power there. And then this other client that talked about, I've always had this, or I've always been wealthy. I've always had great health. I've always been in love. I've always been loved. These two imaginal techniques are the things that changed his entire life through this idea that your parallel, horizontal, linear experience changes because remember, creation's finished, the script is written. So you can remember any probable past, probable future, or probable present, because they change as you imagine differently, as you see things differently, right? From that I amness, right? These are always changing. But if you're sitting there and saying, well, nothing changes, you're in that frame, nothing changes. I've struggled with my health. I've struggled with love. I've never been loved. I've never had money. You're creating that reality right now. You're creating that linear past where you've never had money, you've never had love, you've never had good health. You're creating it in the present, and you're creating that same future because they all exist now. Nothing changes because you haven't changed anything, right? But if you go to this idea, I've always been loved. I've always been healthy. I've always been wealthy, regardless of what you think you remember or experience. That changes everything. It changes that horizontal past, that it comes with a different horizontal past, it comes with a different present and a different future, right? Everything's always unfolding perfectly for me. That's what this person did. And he used also the I remember when. I remember when I struggled with my health or love or money. But now I have it all. The idea that if you remember that, then it must be different now. Do you see it? That I remember when is powerful because the implication is you have money now, that you do have love, that you are healthy when you said, I remember when I didn't. Because remember, you're remembering a version of you that you are no longer. You can remember that that was a version of me, that was a horizontal experience that another version of me had. It's no longer who I am. I'm going to show you this today. We're going to take this I remember when to the next step, right? And Neville talks about it when he had that dream. I remember when this was an empty lot, with that older man standing in front of the empty lot, imagining that, right? So that's powerful. So when you remember, hear this, that identity and version of reality, that probable identity, that probable version of reality, when you struggled with love or money or health, but now are healthy, wealthy, and in love, that's the implication, right? It doesn't matter if you're standing in front of an empty lot, just like that man in Neville Goddard's teachings, because you're implying that it's not an empty lot anymore, that you're not struggling with love or health or money anymore. You're remembering it from who you are now, this new identity, that no longer has that horizontal probable past of struggle. That past belongs to an old identity, just like that man in Neville Goddard's teachings, right? He was a new identity standing in front of that empty lot, remembering when that lot was empty, when he was a different identity seeing that. But it's a different horizontal past. Or you can do that, or you can simply remember that you've never struggled, that you just remembered it wrong, that you are always healthy. These are the two techniques. I've always been healthy. I've always been in love. Either way, memory is powerful because it's an imaginal act. So it doesn't matter how you use it. Both are powerful. Either that from the implication or just remembering that you've always had it, that you've always been successful. I remember when I won the lottery and now look at me, I'm spending it all, right? Whatever it is. I remember when I've always been healthy and now look at me, I'm in all these sports. Or I've always been in love and now I have that love of my life. At any point that an individual realizes, this is Seth or Jane Roberts, his point of power in the present, I love this, he will not need a barrier to test himself against. Because we believe we need to, some of you have said, well, it's that past, it's that struggle, it's that strife that was good for that. I would have never been able to get here where I am without that. Well, that's not true, but that's what you believe and that's what you created. Do you see it? But anytime you realize your point of power is in the present, you don't need any barrier. You don't need anything to test you. You're already there. But that's okay. That some of you say, well, I like that I experienced that. because it makes me who I am now. Well, remember, who you are now, you always decide in the now moment. And so you create, who you are now has a different horizontal past. It doesn't have a past of struggle. That belongs to the old identity, the old you, who's still you. It's still an infinite identity of you, so you don't lose anything. Do you see it? You just become more aware of all that you are. It's so powerful, right? It's all good, whatever way you look at it. That's so powerful today. Your point of all power is now. All probable identities, all realities exist now. The power that creates world is flowing through you now, in the now moment, the only moment there is, right? So try it. Stop telling the story of what's wrong with me or them or reality or the videos, right? Instead, go to your preference. Go to what you want. From that I am vertical, decide as you're in this frame's always changing. What's the future, the future, and the past in a horizontal experience that you want to experience now? It all comes from that current frame. Do you see the visual here? It's all created from this all-powerful present moment. My voice. I'm losing my voice. And from the vertical. Remember, the true meaning of past lives means all your lives, all your identities, all your experiences, all realities are simultaneous. The simultaneity of who you are. Right now, with your current assumptions and your focused identity, you can change, reorganize, restructure, and experience any and all of it. Do you see it? You don't change any of those lives, but you restructure your memories so you have a different horizontal experience of it all. Right now, past, present, future. That's those two things. I remember when. And the idea that I've always been healthy, I've always been wealthy, I've always been, or I've always had. Both of those are powerful. They change everything. The most powerful imaginal techniques to manifest changes in your life right now. I am your host, Tom Kearin, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, thank you. There will be another video from re-released, another repurposed video from the past, that will come alive again. It will be edited, guys, but remember, those edits are for the repurposed videos. I love the one and done. I love being here. It almost feels like I'm live with you because I don't edit these videos. I just take it the way it just comes out, the way it comes out. Creators with great love and great light. Remember, we have our Facebook group, the Be Something Wonderful Ambassadors, at facebook.com/groups/Be Something Wonderful. Instagram and Twitter, you can find us at Tom Kearin. On TikTok, at Be Something Wonderful. We have a Facebook organization page at Be Something Wonderful, as well as the group. And you can check out our membership channel. If you've joined our membership channel, thank you for joining. Like I've always said, it's for additional content, live streams, and a way to support the channel if you want to. So, guys, and don't forget, Saturday morning, Sunday morning, Sunday morning at 9 a.m. in the morning, 2 days from now, right? It's Friday. Sunday morning, we're going to have our 10th live stream on the Be Something Wonderful membership channel. We're going to go live here from our studios here in Las Vegas and answer your questions that you've been sending to info@besomethingwonderful.com. So be sure to tune in. It's going to be our first live stream of 2024, exclusively on the membership channel. If you're a member, join us. If you're not, check it out. Creators with great love, with great light and infinite gratitude. This is Tom, here, Kearin, in the studios of Be Something Wonderful in Las Vegas. Until next time, with great love, with great light, and infinite gratitude, we'll see you soon.